Hey guys and gals, unfortunately we live in a world filled with communists and soft hearts pretending to be patriots. Here's a disclaimer for those out there living in fear. On today's episode of the 850 podcast, we will have some unsympathetic explicit content, including crude humor and strong language. Consider this your official warning, keep your left-wing safe space heartfelt feeling comments to yourself and move on if you don't mind a little adult humor. But if you're ready for some laughs, unfiltered conversation, and a bit of verbal friendly fire, gear up, stay in formation. Things are about to get messy. Send it.
But yeah, we hit the year with the food truck. That's rolling. We just got the next door open. The the Salty Oak Billiards and Darts for all the domesticated needs. It was crazy because it's like 3-4 of us there, and like we do everything ourselves, and like we're us guys, we all got day jobs, and like that's the passion, that's the heart, that's the thing. So like all the construction and everything for that was like all on us. And so as we were going along, kind of picked up a couple more guest taps as we were slowly like kind of pushed. So right now, the brewery side is closed. I went ahead, like we did and said, nope, no. We got to get, like, we're getting our brews caught up, like getting our brewing schedule back on track. So I don't have like 1 or 2 of our beers and 15 guest taps keep going, So right now, this week, as you guys are watching this week, next week, it'll be mostly so bad stuff going on. Just while we start getting the beers cranked back out again, and then bam, brewery's gonna be back rolling as it is. I mean,
yeah, we did. We tasted in one of my episodes. One of my buddies, the Army vet guy. We tasted a lot of the beers from the local area. So we did Idle Hounds, Greighton Beach. We did Salty Oak. We did History Class, a weirdo. Actually, dude, when Alan showed up to my house and did that podcast, he brought me like $100 worth of freaking growlers.
Oh heck yeah!
And he brought it. He came walking over. He's like, "Hey man,
you ready for some beer?"
I saw you did that episode, and I tried to get him to drink some while he was on, but he wouldn't do it.
Yo, but I have no problem drinking beer always. Anytime.
But no, we did the Beetlejuice pickle. That thing, man, dude,
bro,
you perfected it now. That dill, because you had that dill.
Yeah, that sample batch, that first batch was trying to get the flavor down. Was, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like that for me, that beer was something that my wife and her friend, actually, it started with my wife, and then her friends got into it, and it was like you've got to do one of these. I hate pickles so much.
Yeah.
I hate pickles so much. I went and got a tattoo of pickles just to show my wife. I'm like, look, honey, this is how much you mean to me. I'm willing to mark my body with one of the things I hate most in the world, just for you, girl, just for you. But no, that thing it was not for me by any stretch. But horrible. That thing, the pickle blew through. People love the pickle, which surprised me at how many people were into that thing.
Well, so
but the grape, did you try the purple Kool-Aid?
No.
Oh, bro, that was the other Beetlejuice. That thing, dude, we kicked that thing. We went through like 14 gallons in like 2.5 hours.
We were going to have a Halloween party here, and I was going to have you do like a pony keg of that stuff for us. But now, because we're promoting the podcast, we're actually going to be at Trunk or Treat in Haven.
Yeah.
Hopefully she did the paperwork today, but we're going to have a booth set up there. We're going to hand out candy, and we're starting to do like cups, shirts, hats, stuff like that. Trying to promote the show. Yeah.
Score.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm not going to need that pony cake.
It's okay.
If they let me give out alcohol at the park up in
like, hey guys, I'm not charging
it.
anybody, and I will check ID. See, that'll be your thing right there, though. Is going to be like, There is an argument for it. Be like, look, this is going to be totally fine. There's an argument, but given that sort of a situation, no one's going to try, like, and plus two, you don't want to go through that sort of a hassle.
Yeah, no.
Hi. Yes, as we were just getting into. Hey,
I'm already putting
you look
an attorney.
47 years old.
I'm already putting an attorney on retainer anyway. Because because you get sued for anything nowadays. I've actually.
You out here rocking boats, fella.
Well, some of the people that I've had on, there's been it hasn't happened too many. It's only happened once so far.
Okay.
But somebody kind of was like, "Hey, I don't like the way that I sounded in that portion. Can you go back, edit, take it out?" And I'm like, "Here's the thing. That messes with the algorithm because I already have this put up, and now you're asking me to take it down
after it's posted.
Out. Yeah,
that's one of those. Hey, man, that's like during editing. Like, hey, man." Hey, thanks for having me. I'll see you later. By the way.
But here's the other thing about it is I do have a paper trail because most of the time I have people, so I send them the recording and I'm like, hey, just listen to it, watch it all the way through.
Right.
If there's any issues, just send it back to me and then I'll edit whatever out. I try to keep this as raw as possible.
That's the best way.
That's one of the things when Alan came on, he says, I'm really impressed by how everything is pretty much just raw footage. You're not really editing things.
No, dude, that's and especially like that's what these things are supposed to be. You know,
it's
raw, it's real, it's rugged, it's uncut. Yeah. You're shooting from the hip.
Hanging out.
If you say something that you need to go back and be like, hey man, you need to edit that part out. You should have kept your mouth shut to begin with off the cuff.
Yeah,
you should have shut up.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. Don't mention it. And that's one of those things like, brother, don't talk about it if you ain't going to be about it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. A lot of people that have experience with that though are people that are used to being under scrutiny. So they're like, for me, dude, I did 2 podcasts during my campaign. Never got published. Nobody wanted to publish it.
Really?
Yeah. So I can tell you afterwards who they were, but one of the dudes that had me on was like, you know, hey, I'm going to take this portion out and this portion out. And I was like, well, no, that defeats the purpose of the whole thing. And so I don't consent to have
that's like the best. Yeah. Like this is the part that I came to like kind of discuss right now.
And then, so
you're going to cut it out to, hi, I'm Ron. Vote for me.
Yeah.
I love this town.
You didn't
bye.
Yeah, you didn't.
You got rid of all the dirt, like the shit that we were getting into, man. All the stuff that I was actually had to say.
Yeah, that happens. And then, and now that I've been running this podcast, I tell people, I'm like, hey, you came in tonight and or this afternoon, and you're like, hey man, and you started trying to have a conversation with me, and I was like, whoa, don't, let's not talk about anything until we get on, because look, man. Like,
hot takes.
If people like what I have to say, then great. You know, why are you listening to the show if you don't like it?
Absolutely.
So, but no, I try to keep.
You know what? On the same aspect, though, at the same aspect of the, you know, you got to have your haters. If you ain't got somebody hating on you, you're not. You know what I'm saying.
You know, the worst thing that's happened so far was Bay County bad drivers. I had that guy on.
Yeah.
And I know him through a couple of military organizations this year. Oh my God! The misspelled redneck hate mail that I have gotten.
Really?
Yeah, that's been ridiculous.
Like anti him, anti the page. Like for what? Like,
oh my God!
I love that page, bro.
Yeah,
I love that page. I've submitted a few things.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I've never been featured.
We got 1,300 listens on Spotify for that.
No shit, hell yeah.
And then what's even funnier is I went out with one of my buddies. We went out to the Dive.
Right.
Which, hey, by the way, that place is
dude. This remodel rebrand that they've done is baller.
But we went down there and I was waiting to take a leak. And I was in line, and there's this guy. He just comes up to me. He goes, "So who is the founder of the Bay County Bad Drivers?" And I was like, looking at him.
Hey man,
like,
I don't
dude.
know.
And if you know anything about the bathroom at the Dive, they kind of like share a small space.
Oh yeah. So that was one of those things because I mean that page has been around for so long.
Yeah.
That page has been around forever.
18,000 followers. Dude, if you understand how many people,
bro,
that is
that's
a percentage. I made
that is an actual percentage.
I made the joke. I was like, hey, actually, with that many, that's almost as many people that vote in our local elections.
Right. So oh God, yes. Oh, so sad. Oh, Airdinger, October.
Yeah.
Oh, baby, I've not had that in a very long time.
They were in the.
Oh.
Yeah, they were in the freezer.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to be a little.
That's fine. Ooh, slushy. It's been a journey.
I've got a question though.
Let's go.
All right. So
I'm with you.
Brewery business.
How?
Okay. So like today, I stopped by Publix. I was like, because you don't have any beer brewed yet.
It's coming. It's coming.
Alan Branch is kicking your ass on that. He brought me beer.
I came from work.
Yeah.
I came from day job.
How competitive is the business? And let me explain.
No. Go right ahead.
When I go to the store, you can ask my wife. Mm-hmm. It's hilarious. I'll go to the beer aisle and I'll stare.
Stuck for a while.
I'm stuck there. When I go down the beer aisle, when I'm looking for beer, and I don't drink as much beer as I used to, but now
you're still standing there for
I'm
at
sitting
minimum
there
10
and
minutes.
I'm going, but I really feel like sometimes I'm basing it off of the color of the can.
Right.
Stuff like that.
See, I will still do that same thing. I will still, when I'm like beer shopping and stuff, the can art will jump out at you hard. And I used to be one of those guys who would just grab stuff. And then I got burned a couple times. And while I will let can art jump out at me, I will double check what it is I'm grabbing beforehand, because there's a couple of things I don't want. Like, I don't want, you lost me at spicy. Yeah. I don't want chilies in my beer. Yeah. I don't want nothing hot. I don't want pickle stuff. And I've burned myself a couple of times. There was one, I'll never forget. I do this event called Stoutsgiving with the Panama City craft beer community. This is our 9th year. This Thanksgiving will be our 9th year doing it. And the whole thing is a bunch of, like, everybody just meets up with stouts and we just do this massive bottle share. Well, there's one night, and it's one of those, nothing like, don't go to the store and grab a 6-pack. It was like, go find something off the wall, something that we don't get around here, stuff that, you've been aging or whatever. And I got burnt, bro, because I had picked up this bottle in like Mobile, like was leaving liquor store, had all this stuff, and I was walking out and I just saw the word, it was like a skull, and it just said death in stout. That's all I saw. And I was like, ooh, that sounds promising. This could be, dark and heavy. Let's go. Grabbed it, didn't even look at it. We got to night of, and it was like this Russian Imperial Stout that was like loaded. It was like 14%, but it was like loaded with ghost peppers. And it was just, ooh, that's not yum for me at all. Like, people loved it. Was not my bag of tea. But when it comes to stuff like that, like, I personally, like, we are lucky. We are lucky. One of the things, and I know you've heard me say it to people before. I know you've been in the brewery and like have had to hear me say it. Every day, there's always somebody who comes in and it's like, oh man, I'm from, Joe Blow, Iowa. And, we're population 30 and we got 147 breweries in a 3-block radius. So, we figured we'd come down here to vacation, man.
You're not about to say what Alan Branch said, where people come up and they say, tastes like Bud Light.
Oh, no, not that. Okay. I mean, we get those, but you got to know where to send them. You got to, okay, I can work with that. Mm-hmm. That's my thing, is always like, what do you generally reach for? There's no wrong answer. Yeah. In 6 words or less, I'll find a beer for you. Yeah. Like, that's my game. But, you got all these people who think they're coming down. They're like, oh man, vacation town, spring break thing, like, oh man, all this stuff, beach town, like, oh man, there's going to be like all these breweries and stuff. And they get down here and they're like, yo, there's like 2. Like, oh yeah, well, technically there's 2.5 locally. We have 2.5 breweries locally, technically. But I mean, there's like 6 if you're willing to like drive, 30, 45 minutes. And what's great is, and I tell people constantly, because like you can always catch. There actually, as a matter of fact, I'll have to show it to you afterwards. It popped up in my time hop today. There's a photo from like a year or two ago of we were all at Salty Oak. It's Salty Oak crew hanging out drinking with the history class crew and the Southern Fields crew. We're all together. Southern Fields up in Campbellton. We're all we all hang out. And what's great is
I don't know anything about them.
Oh, I have to get you up on that.
Is that the one that's up in Cottondale?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely worth a checkout. Definitely worth a checkout. Another one of those great local breweries.
You are now entering Cottondale. You are now leaving Cottondale.
Exactly. But in that minute pause between now entering and now leaving, they're right there. And they're worth it. Great friends of Salty Oak, man. They're good people, great beer. But it's awesome because when you live in one of those cities where the market is just so oversaturated with breweries on top of each other and they're everywhere, you run into that moment of, hey man, nah, you don't want to go hang out with those guys. You need to come over here. Our beer's better. Do this, do this, do this. Here in Panama City, at least, or Bay County, generally speaking, I use that loosely enough because Idle's local, but they're not like right here. You got to drive to get to Idle. You're not just. It's a journey.
Let me kind of interject on that. Idlehound is good. Divide and Conquer is a great beer.
They're stouts, man. Stuff that they don't release, the stuff that's tap room only.
I'm still a Greighton Beach guy, though.
Are you?
Man.
Yeah. What's your Greighton beer?
Okay, well dude, I love talking about fucking beer. I wish I could be a brewer. I really do.
You can do it.
I'm really big into Meads.
Yeah.
But because I brewed it when I was in the military, and then I kind of made it a hobby. I've been doing it for about.
There's not that much difference.
Well,
can you boil water?
Yeah, but the thing about
can you stand in front of a pot for 5 hours?
I feel like mead is a lot more expensive.
Oh no, it absolutely is. Just cost of honey and stuff.
Way longer process. Beer. But so I kind of have a. It's kind of funny. So Andrew Johnson, I do believe he's still the general manager there. I don't know if he is anymore. Or is it Andrew Johnson? Sure. Anyway, dude's a good guy.
That guy.
Yeah. And so I've met him a couple times, but that's one of the first breweries that I ever went to.
Right.
And so I remember going into Greighton Beach Brewery after they came out with Salt of the Gulf.
Okay.
And so it was a sour that they came out with.
Yeah, I remember that.
They actually went and took salt water in buckets and brought it back and brewed their beer from out of the Gulf.
Yo.
And it was like this, when we talk about beer, and I talked a little bit about this on our podcast where we tried all the different beers. Mm-hmm. Beer is a culture that follows the area in which it's brewed.
100%.
So
Absolutely.
When I go to Savannah and I go to a brewery there, it's completely different. South Florida,
Absolutely.
different,
it's all
different,
regional
different.
to what's happening right there.
I like getting caught up in the culture of something. I can taste a shit beer that tastes like ass, and I will still be more caught up in the culture of how they brew it, how they came up with the idea,
the story behind it.
That. Once you start getting into stuff like they got like
water chemistry.
They got like a pine beer up at history class. I think it's the most disgusting thing in the world. But I still drank it because it was brewed here locally. Yeah. And it's something.
There's a story behind it. There's a whole thing. You're like, I want to find out.
Yeah. And so, but with the Greighton Beach Brewery, even if it goes to White Dunes or if it goes to, Beach Blonde.
Was it they had that, they had that oyster stout too. I remember. I think that was Greighton. They did like a Franklin County oyster stout, I swear, years ago.
White Dunes was like my thing for like a while.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, that, and then they had a Greighton IPA, but then I wasn't big into IPAs until a couple years ago, and then I bounced out of it and I bounced back into it.
Well, see, and that's one of those great things, and like that's one of those amazing things. And again, something I say,
your taste buds change, man.
Something I say constantly. You know, for years, bro, I would tell, like, all those years when I was down over at Craft Beer Emporium, it was always like, I can tell you about 99% of the beers except for sours. I can tell you what my wife thinks about them because I hated them. Yeah. I love sours now. Joey Hodges got me, he force fed me so many sours he would pick up in his travels. There's no reason you should know as much as you do about beer and not be into this style. And that's one of the greatest things. Like, it's the way I look at it, it's always socially acceptable to have a beer. There's always a reason. You can always have a beer in your hand at any point in time, and it's okay in general.
I grew up in a household where drinking was frowned upon.
Right.
Neither one of my parents drank. Grandparents didn't drink. My uncle has a beer every once in a while. Both of my uncles do. And then my brother doesn't drink anymore. He had his little time that he did, right. And but like I'm fairly certain that I probably drink more beer than anybody in my family.
Yeah. Well,
but, like what I was I kind of lost my train of thought.
It's okay. I got you. I'm still on mine.
Yeah, beer. It was more safe to drink beer back in the day. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking when this country was founded.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, beer and rum basically ran the nation.
Right.
And so I just feel like when you have something like that, every beer that you crack open, even if it's a Natty Light or whatever, you're still drinking like a piece of history.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of funny.
At the end of the day, the one thing Sam Adams got right, at the end of the day, it's all about the love of beer. I tell people constantly, it doesn't matter what you're drinking. Don't ever let anybody talk shit to you about what you're drinking. A beer is a beer is a beer is a beer, unless you're drinking like Four Loko, in which case, who hurt you? You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong? Do you need to talk? Like, is it okay? But like, what I was saying is like, if I come up to you at 8 o'clock in the morning, you got a beer in your hand, you know, like, hey, people here, vacation, like, hey, we're up. You think about like,
you're an alcoholic.
Well, see, no, that's what I'm getting at though. There's always, you can see somebody with a beer at any point, and there can be a socially acceptable reason for that person to have a beer in their hands. However, on the flip side, I don't care where you are. If you see somebody taking shots, sitting around with a cocktail that's not like, you know, like a screwdriver or a Bloody Mary or something at brunch, if I see you with a rum and Coke at 7 a.m, I'm gonna be like, hey man, you okay?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it? You know what I'm saying? But if I see you with a beer at 7 a.m, I'm like, oh hey man, cool. Like, what are we celebrating? You're off today? Yeah. Like, is it the start of the vacation? Like, what's going on? You know? Yeah. Like it's a totally different end. And going back to what the other about the sense of, you know, how the markets go and all that. The great thing here, I believe, in having, like, do we need more breweries? Absolutely, man. I wish we could have so many more. It's always about the next new beer. I want more people to express their love for this craft and join all of us on this journey. But the great thing is the fact that we have so little is none of us, we don't get, like, there's no reason to get caught up into, hey man, don't go there, go here. It's a whole lot like I've had millions of people come in and be like, hey man, yeah, we were hanging out over at El Weirdo and they told us to come check this place out. Hey man, we were out at Brass Tap, Craft Bar, Idle Hounds, wherever, like just beer places, you know, like, so there's no real, I don't look at it as any sort of, I don't look at it as competition as much as just because there's so few of us, as we help bring each other together and we help lift each other up. We do the same damn thing. Like, it don't matter who you are, where you are. Hey, man, okay, hey, you just got into town. You came to us first. All right, grab a pen and paper. We're going to give you thanks for hanging out. Hope we see you again before you leave. Come back and let us know what you think about these other places to check out while you're in town. If
So
you're if you're on a beer mission, if you're on
it's a craft just like anything else. It's the same as having somebody like I wanted to put a barn door in here to close that off. And so one of my buddies is like a contractor. And so he was over and we were hanging out one night and I was like, hey man, I want to have this built. And he's like, I can build it for you, but man, to be honest with you, this is the guy that you want. And then it's so
that's
cool
the
to
kind
see
of thing right there. Yeah.
It's so cool to see the community come together in that way where it's like, I can do this for you, but there's a guy that's better at this. I'm more structured towards this. So it's like, it's the same as going to a craft brewery and being like, man, I'm looking for a good stout. Man, we've got a couple stouts that are here, but man, dude, this place has the best.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's one of the greatest things too, because like, you know, like even, you know, as far as like beer establishments, you know, they can kind of fall into that trap of like, you know, this is another place who has a similar structure to ours. So it's, that place, whatever, you want to come here. But it's chill. You only got, if this is what you're after, you only got a handful of options to bounce around through. So like, why not help uplift each other? You know? And like, I can honestly say with 5 years we've been around, 4 years, history's been around, Weirdos got like a couple down. Southern Fields, those guys have been around like 4 or 5 years now. You know, like Idle, like we all get together, we all do stuff, like we all share the common end goal. And it's so nice to just be able to have like just a nice,
it's really hard.
A community.
Yeah.
A community.
It is really hard in this area too though, because Alan and I kind of have, we touched on it a little bit. We didn't talk about it on the podcast, but off, you know, we were talking about how different areas not getting really caught up with the times. And so like beer, you know, living on the Bible Belt, we're still in the South.
Look at Lynn Haven.
Yeah, people are still hey, I've got... We got stuff to talk about.
But I miss top shelf liquor.
But here's the thing about it. It's kind of funny because we live in the South and we live on the Bible Belt, and because we're part of this society down here, people look down on alcohol still. And I love having the conversation now, even with you know, I am a Christian. I'm a follower of Christ. And,
absolutely.
But the thing about it is like when somebody sits there and they try to tell me, oh, alcohol is bad for you, and everything's bad in excess.
Everything's bad for you.
Everything's bad in excess, especially.
Your deodorant's giving you cancer right now.
Yeah,
like,
but
then
my favorite is it's like alcohol. Why would you even put something like that in your body? And I'm like, didn't you just eat Chick-fil-A? You just ate a fried chicken sandwich, carb on top of carb on top of carb. It has more calories, more carbohydrates in the beer.
That's different.
Oh, well, it takes away your judgment. Your judgment? You went to Chick-fil-A 3 times this week.
You just
don't tell me that it's gone against your judgment
You're
at all.
sweating after eating a sandwich. Like, that's way worse.
Yeah.
That's way worse.
That's the reason why I always laugh, because it's like, oh, you know, because I mean, so I'll be honest with you. Like when I'm smoking a chicken or a pork butt, or I'm out here grilling out, you know, I've got a Miller Lite in my hand or whatever. But then one of my buddies, one of my buddies will come over and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't drink." You know, hey, you got a Coke? What? And I'm like, you sugar on top of sugar on top of, you know, diabetes. You're talking about how I'm killing my liver. You're killing your pancreas. You're killing,
Don't judge me for this, man.
Don't sit there and try to act like you're better than me just because I want to drink a beer.
And it's an all around stigma though, man. Like just like the beer laws in this country are insanity. Like you can do anything you want when it comes to like wine and liquor, but like hell, I remember, you know, 10, 15 years ago, if you walked into somewhere like ABC, you walked into ABC back when they still had the growler filling station. Yeah. You could walk in there in the state of Florida. I could come in with 8 32-ounce growlers and ask, hey, you got Erdinger Oktoberfest on draft. I would like to get these 8 32-ounce growlers filled with that one beer. Absolutely. We got you. Line them up. Let's go. You walked in that same establishment with 1 64-ounce and said, hey, I would like this put into it. no, that's illegal. Get out of here, criminal. We can't do that.
Well,
it's finally changed.
I got a question about that. Mm-hmm. So when we did our, and you do need to go back and listen to me and Alex when we did all the different beer tastings, because we talked about some of this, and it was kind of funny because both him and I both sat here and we were like, dang, man, we got to have somebody on that knows what they're talking about when we talk about regulation.
Yes,
for beer.
It's insane.
So what I thought was interesting back when I was considering starting up a meadery when I got out of the Army, because I was stupid and I didn't realize how much stuff costs.
Made sense at the time.
It sounded like a good idea at the time. But one of the things that kind of hit home with me when I was like talking about doing this, it was like, if your percentage is off by just slight, the drug and alcohol.
Yeah, DBPR.
They can put you out of business.
Oh yeah,
like that.
And it's like, well, see, but too with that,
because there's like no cushion.
It depends on your area though. Too, it depends on your area. So like here, we're pretty free. We're pretty liberal down here as far as like do what you can do whatever you need to do. But you got places like you go across the street to Alabama. So like. And one of the things I always use, case in point, you like down here, and I always refer back to them. I refer back to them a lot because whether you like them, whether you don't, they've made a lot of strides and they've done a lot as far as beer goes in the grand scheme of the world. A lot of people, you might only know the one thing, the one or two, whatever. I don't give a shit. Sam Adams has done a lot of stuff over the years as far as just progression, so to speak. So they have this beer. It's released every 2 years. Utopias runs about $325 a bottle when it's released.
What is this? I'm sorry. I was kind of zoned out. When you do these things, I'm always thinking about my next question. But did you just say
$325 a bottle? It's like this cute little cachet. I'll show you a picture of one. I got like 3 empties at the house. Whenever I get sad, I still open them and smell them. The aroma's still in there. I mean, that's such a good beer.
300.
But it can range, depending on the year it's released.
12 ounces?
No. It's like I want to say it's a 24 ounce bottle.
24 ounces, $325.
But here's the thing. Like, it goes from anywhere between like 26 to 28%.
It's like buying cologne.
It's non-carbonated. It drinks like a cognac. Like, recommended serving size is like 1 ounce. And I have personally gotten 3 bottles.
What's the alcohol percentage?
It's depending on the year, like it ranges between 26% and 28%. Small amounts, all you need.
It's got to be horrible.
No, it's so good.
Is it really?
That beer, I've had some people who it's just say it's not for them because like anytime I would get a bottle, it would always just be like, okay, I got this now. Whoever's around whenever I have it, would you care to try it? When I was first getting into the beer scene and I discovered it, it was always one of those, I looked at it as one of those like, oh man, this is one of those white whales. I would love to see a bottle. Like there's no time in my life that I'll probably ever get to try this. Fast forward now, I've bought in 3 bottles. I've shared buddies' bottles. Like I've drank so much of this crap now that it's just like, you know what? I don't really care anymore. Like I'm good. I've had beyond my fill of it, you know, but it's one of those as a beer drinker, like let's say it drinks like a cognac. It's if you have a 2 ounce pour of this and you drink this thing the way it's intended to be drank, you don't shoot it. You don't just take a gulp. You know what I'm saying? But if you drink this thing the way it's supposed to be drank, that 2 ounces, you can sit and sip on that 2 ounces for about half an hour and you are exactly where you need to be. But that you can get that here in the state of Florida. You can go, there's a handful of liquor stores that get them.
Really?
Every year when they come out. ABC's like usually the first one. I know Craft Beer Emporium, they always get a couple. Say this.
When I lived down in Tampa, World of Wine? Wine World. Dude.
Yo.
We need one of those here.
We have one.
Where?
We have a... Are you thinking Total Wine?
Total Wine. Sorry.
I agree. We have a Wine World.
I lived in Brandon. It was right around the corner.
Total Wine.
Funny story. And then I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
If I let this leave,
come on. You're good.
I was headed home from work one day. We had been living down in Tampa for about a month, and I had started a new job, so alcohol was just like not a thing. I wasn't touching alcohol or anything. I was more focused on my job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stuff like that.
Priorities.
I was on a very, very intensive program, and so I was like, I was headed home, and I was like, you know what, like, I want a bottle of wine, and I knew that this place was there. It was Total Wine, and it looked big. It looked like the size of like a Walmart.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my god,
it's like a Sam's or a Costco, dude. This gigantic,
I was like, this place
warehouse of everything.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this place has got to have like a ton of wine. Well, I walked in, and there was like hardly any wine. There was a section.
There was a section.
It was huge, but everything else. And I walked through that place, and I was like, holy crap. I'm talking about, so Dunkel is my favorite style of
Dunkel's
beer. I am a Dunkel guy. And when you walk into somewhere like that, and they've got 25 different types of Dunkels to choose from.
You're in hog heaven,
and I'm
bro.
sitting there, and I'm going,
you're in hog heaven. You're like, I'm done.
This is the part where the story gets funny. I got off around 4:00 that afternoon, and took about 30. So I got there about 4:30. I walk inside, and I'm just like sitting there, and I'm reading, and I'm picking up stuff, and I'm reading. And they had a whole cognac section. They had a whole whiskey section. What kind of whiskey? You want Tennessee? Do you want,
yeah.
And then there's all this.
You're broken down.
Florida.
Yeah.
Everything is broken down into tiers. Everything is broken down into a geographical map.
That is not a place for an amateur to walk into and be like, "Hi, I'm here for a bottle of vodka."
Yeah.
Oh, sweetie, you got to get way more specific than that.
So I walked in, and I was sitting there, and then my phone rings, and it was Nia, and she called me, and I answered the phone. I'm like, "Hey, babe, what's up?" She goes, "Okay. You're okay." And I was like, yeah. She was like, okay, I've sent you a couple text messages, whatever. My phone was on silent. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. She goes, it's 6:30. Are you coming home?
Shut up.
I've been in this place for 2 hours.
I've done it.
I've been in this place for 2 hours. Nia wanted me to come home, and there you can buy individual, like 12 ounce, 24 ounces, whatever. And I looked down in my cart, and I had 2 beers. And I was like, how did time escape? I mean, just the way that it was. And then they sucked in. I was sucked in, and I sat there, and I was like, and dude, this time of the year, during October, all the different types of Oktoberfest they have,
best beers
everything's
are
imported.
Out now.
Everything is in
fall is the season. It's the best beer season.
There is nothing.
All the darks,
as much
all
as
the rich malt.
This may sound stupid, but Samuel Adams Oktoberfest, it's changed. The flavor has changed since I was 21. Or maybe it's just my taste
Your
buds.
palate has evolved.
But, like going out there, we have a fire on the back porch, cracking open
it's
one of those.
It's your go-to, man.
And sitting there sipping, watching the sun go down. The kids are sitting there doing s'mores on the and it's just like one of those like, this
I'm in my happy place.
And I can sip on that.
This feels
and it tastes
right.
great. But dude, Total Wine. If we got,
we
was
don't
considering
need a Total Wine.
No,
I've never been to Total Wine and not spend under $200 on beer.
They had my father-in-law.
I'm walking out with cases, and what's crazy is I'm not buying 12 packs and shit. I'm like, do it. I'm grabbing singles.
You mentioned cognac
because I want a selection.
You mentioned cognac. My father-in-law is a sucker for cognac because of his dad, and so my wife's grandfather, and so that guy was like a cognac connoisseur. Mm-hmm. When he came down from Tennessee to visit us in Tampa, he did the same thing, and he was in the cognac section. They have cognac there where there's $18,000 bottles of cognac.
Oh, I totally.
And you sit there and you're like, the taxes alone on that when you purchase that are going to be thousands.
Incredibly nuts.
But when you were sitting there talking about like,
brother,
I'm like, dude, you want to get lost in the sauce? Go to a Total
That was
Wine.
In Tampa for you?
Yeah.
So let me tell you,
and by the way, there were like 4 of those down there.
The first Total Wine I ever went to was one of the Total Wines in Tampa. Yeah. That was the first time I've ever been in one, and I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I saw those 5 double aisles of beer, and I'm just like, I don't. And it's easy to.
I got on a cider kick when I was there.
Yeah.
Because of how many ciders that they had.
See, that's the thing, man. Like, you can.
And again,
if it's what you're into, like, if that's like this is the hobby.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's one of the greatest hobbies in the world to have, because you're never going to collect them all.
Well, if you're doing it for educational purposes,
oh no, yeah,
absolutely.
Like,
yeah,
seeing what's like, if you're doing it to like just let's get wasted,
no,
you're having a bad time. But like,
yeah.
when you like I was saying earlier, for me personally, I live my life. It's all about that next new beer. Mm-hmm. I know what I've had. I know what I've liked. I know what I'm into.
Yeah,
I don't care about that. You had me at this thing I've not tried before. Yeah. I don't know what it is, and that doesn't even. If you put 10 beers in front of me, 9 of them are some of the greatest beers I've ever had. But this last one is something that's not a style I'm super into, and it's got some flavors thrown in that I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm still going for that one first because I haven't had it. I know what these, you know what I'm saying? And it's great because like it's like Pokemon, man. Like you're constantly going. You're gonna try to catch them all.
Yeah.
But like you're never done. There's like, you can pick something to collect. Eventually, hooray, I did it.
And
I got the set.
Right behind
yeah.
Yep.
When it comes to this, like, brother, like day by day, it's progressively, there's more and more and more options to choose from. So you're always, as long as you like maintain that, that whimsical fancy, so to speak, about the situation, you're always gonna have some terrible stuff. Yeah. There's gonna be some bad stuff in the middle. You're gonna have some good stuff. You're gonna have some great stuff. But every once in a while, you'll come across one of these it's like lightning in a bottle, you'll come across that something, you're just like, you take a sip and it's just, oh dude, I still have more of this, less of everything else.
I still have a beer that is definitely for special occasions.
Yeah.
And I will hold myself back from purchasing it anytime I have it, just because I wait to buy it until there's something that comes up. And it's Dogfish Head 120 minute.
Oh baby boy! Have you?
So the 120 minute IPA that is done by Dogfish Hill.
Oh yeah.
I remember the first time I ever had it. You remember that liquor store that was right there by Publix on Back Beach? There used to be one that was in there, right by First Watch. You know what I'm talking about?
Wine World.
Was that Wine World?
That was Wine World, yeah.
That was the first time I had ever had a 120.
Right.
IPA. What is it? 18%?
18, 19%.
Yeah, 18, 19%.
Depending on the year. Yeah.
And
there another one like Utopias.
So
like,
aged beer is a thing
too,
age. Right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, but that 120 minute, I'll run across it. It's very hard to find it. I cannot. Don't tell me where to find it, because if you do, I'll go and I'll probably buy more than what I need to buy.
So it's twice a year though, and it's not in season right now. So you're safe. You're safe. It went from being a once a year thing to like now they release it twice a year, but I'm gonna tell you. So
I've got to take a leak.
Go pee, yep. Brother. If you like 120, and I know you're not the biggest stout guy in the world, you got to mix them together.
I like stouts. I like, but they got to be more creamy.
This is something. If 120 is like you're like you're saying, like special occasion, something good, that like special moment kind of beer.
Yeah.
Get a hold of a World Wine. Next time you get a 120, it's a heaven and hell, man. Just mix them together. And then take a sip. And I'm telling you right now, you will never drink one or the other alone again.
Literally forgot the beer.
Literally. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief time out while Ron grabs more beer to talk to you about today's sponsor, Ron Keel. This section of Ron Keel is brought to you by Ron Keel.
Well, everybody always tries to talk about how beer is like not healthy or whatever.
Terrible people. They don't know what they're talking about.
One of the things about it, though, is it restores your glycogen in your liver.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, before I have, like, a long ruck,
Okay.
or a long run. Like, so tomorrow I'm doing a ruck.
Okay.
So if you have like 3 or 4 beers the night before,
Kind of helps you out the next day.
yeah, for some reason it does it better than any food that I've ever had. I don't know why. And I don't know if there's any type. There's probably a doctor that will listen to this and be like, "This guy is a
hot take." Someone's going to disagree with.
Yeah.
Guinness is low calorie.
Jason Momoa's beer of choice.
Bro, Guinness is my Bud Light. That is my
Guinness,
all day, every day. Thank you, sir.
That's what I was saying about stouts being creamy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If it's something like a Guinness,
My
dude,
all day,
all
every
about
day. I just want a beer, but I'm not feeling like getting crazy. Bro, leave me alone with a 24 pack of Guinness and come back in an hour. I'm going to be like, hey, man, we got to get some more. Like, I will just down it like water.
Low
It's
alcohol
good.
percentage.
It's low alcohol percentage. Like that's one of those things. Again, some of the stigmas and the way people, oh man, I love a good dark beer, but nothing quite as dark and crazy as Guinness. Brother, Guinness is not dark and crazy. There's more alcohol in your Mick Ultra than there is in a Guinness. Cheers to you, my friend. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah.
There's way more alcohol in a Mick Ultra than a Guinness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But controversial topic. Someone's gonna disagree with me and be like, "Who's know what the fuck
Most
he's talking about?"
nutritious.
It is the most nutritious. It's good for your heart. Yep. And do some research on this. I haven't done deep enough research. I read a couple of things and took it as face value. But a Guinness a day, along with the rest of your heart healthy diet, can also kind of pull back your cholesterol a little bit.
Really?
Like, I'm not just saying go pound a case of Guinness and be like, "Oh, honey, I did this. I'm fine.
The doctor told me to.
I had a bowl of Cheerios this morning and some Guinness. I'm good." No, none of that. But like, if you got like high cholesterol, you're working on getting it down.
Yeah.
But and you still want to drink beer, and you're still trying to a little bit. Like, it's one of those beers that's like, it's not bad for you. Yeah. Like, it's of all the macro beers out there, like that one is like hands down the most health conscious of, like, as far as like stereotypical beer goes.
Yeah, that's the reason why when people come up and they hand me a White Claw, I almost tell them to go take a long walk off a short pier.
I love the idea. If I could just get behind seltzer water, man, that's my thing.
So
I just
the
don't
seltzers
like
that you
seltzer
guys,
water.
Well, okay,
those were the first ones, and long before I got over there during COVID, before I got over,
you guys
to
make
Salty.
seltzers though.
Yeah,
yeah,
oh, dude,
you make that seltzer and you put the habanero.
Yeah, baby.
What is that? That's a pineapple, or
yeah, it was the pineapple habanero.
Dude,
the pineapple habanero.
That thing is freaking awesome.
We got one right now that should be ready to go next week. I've got to go check on it. I'm going to check on it in the morning. It's almost done fermenting. So we got the seltzer. I'm going to do something crazy. All these years, I've always heard people come through talking about, because like when we do seltzers, we'll do, okay, here's a batch of strawberry seltzer, blueberry, watermelon, whatever, pick your flavor. And I was never into seltzers before I had a Chris Dingler seltzer. The first time I'd ever found a seltzer that I was like, holy shit, I need more of this, was, and this long before I worked there, when he was just one of my buddies who was making beer, you know. Yeah. Like during COVID, I was begging to say, I was like, look, just, I don't care, homebrew it, do whatever, man. I need one of your seltzers. I want the blueberry seltzer and the Tangelo seltzer. Those were the two I'd always screw with them about. They were so delicious. And it was it was right at the height of the seltzer kick, and I never found one I was into until that one. Yeah. But we always do flavored batches. And forever always had people talking about how, hey man, well, you know, like the brewery back where I'm from, they just do like a seltzer, and then they have these flavors you can throw into them. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give that a kick. So I got a batch right now. It's almost done. I got a batch of it, just base seltzer. It's sitting at around like 7.2% ABV. But instead of using just like general, like, oh, okay, here's the flavor, we're using snow cone flavors. So you're going to be able to come in, be like, hey man,
I want a cotton candy seltzer.
You come in, you can order a snow cone seltzer, I'll hand you the thing, and you'll be able to have the row of flavors You want what you want. Do you want cotton candy? You want tiger's blood? You want blue raspberry? You want to mix cherry with watermelon? Boom, here you go. And so I did a sample one the other day.
It's really good on calories, I think, right?
It's
better than beer.
Pending.
Carbohydrates.
Depending
on how much sugar you add to it.
Yes. See, and that's one of those things because of the popularity, generally speaking, of like, you know, the White Claws and the Trulies and all that stuff, where like, oh, hey man, it's only like blah, blah, blah carbs and this many calories and like, oh, it's kind of good for you and it's easy going. People assume that all seltzers are like that.
Yeah.
Don't. If you're doing keto and you go to a brewery and, hey, just let me get, bro, ooh, I want your black cherry moonlight currant lemon twist seltzer. You're about to like lose all of that, baby. Yeah. There's still just because White Claw is like 2 grams doesn't mean a Breweries is. Like, they're good. And you know what? High five. Yes, they are slightly, but you're not always gonna get that.
So what goes into fermenting a seltzer?
Honestly,
it's
not that much different, bro. You got some because
you're not using hops.
Nah, you're just, dude. You're
just fermenting sugar, or
yeah, sugar water, baby.
That's crazy.
Sugar water purple, as Dave Chappelle once said back in the day.
Yeah,
and that's what I was saying earlier. Like going back, like you have an experience with mead, so you have a general understanding of how it all goes. You can totally do a batch of beer in your kitchen.
Yeah.
But the downside is, as you got a family, finding 5 hours where you can just stand in front of a pot. That's going to be your downside right there. That's going to be the thing that's holding you up. Because if you can boil water and drink a beer while you stir in a pot every once in a while, bro, you can make beer.
Yeah, mead is pretty easy.
Yeah.
I mean, you just honey, dissolve it in the water.
Take you about an hour tops.
Yep, and then you boil it, and then you put it in your fermenter. You add your yeast.
Forget about it for a while.
But I've done meads where I've added fruit to it, and then peppers. I did a capsaicin mead that turned out freaking amazing. We did an October mead not too long ago.
Me and a buddy have been talking about getting together, meeting in the garage, and we're still working on how we're going to make it happen. We've been talking about getting in the garage, and we're going to put together a recipe. I don't know. Thinking back now, I don't know how the hell we got to this point, but we want to do a Dr. Pepper stout. A Dr. Pepper flavored imperial stout.
That sounds disgusting.
Don't know how the hell we're going to do it yet, but we're going to try to shoot for it.
Black cherry and...
When we get to that point, when we get to brewing, this is your general invite. I will keep up with you as this process goes along, as we get a recipe together and we get it going. When we go to do this, we're doing this independent of any of the brewery stuff. This is just a personal, going to do a small batch.
The cool thing about when I was doing mead was the creativity that goes behind it. Something that Alex and I talked about when we tasted all those beers, and I had talked about Salty Oak. I talked about Idle Hound.
It's an art, man.
Well, and that's what I said.
It's such an art.
Literally,
the art of brewing.
Go back and listen to that.
Real.
We got passionate about it on it, and it wasn't just the alcohol talking.
It
was the whole thing of and I made the comment. And you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but some things that people don't understand is microbreweries aren't the big breweries. They're not making a ton of money off of what they do. It literally is the fact that you love what you're doing and you love the craft. It's a passion.
It's a passion. Would we love to retire off of it? Absolutely. Are we retiring off of it? Not at all.
Probably not.
But it's the love of it. It's the love of it. We have run, I fell into this stuff, man. This was a hobby. I got tired of my job, 11 years doing the same thing. I was done. And I
What
was
did
ready
you do?
I was at Pepsi. I worked at Buffalo Rock for 11 years.
Wow. I didn't know
And everything over the years. And I had just hit a wall where I was like, I've been here since I was 18.
What did you do at Pepsi?
Dude, pick it. I had gone through and done everything. I had done everything up there. When I left, I was doing, I was one of the inventory guys for the warehouse. And great job, great place. I still use things that I learned from there in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Like, I took a lot away from that place. That place, you know, gave me a lot of walking around sense in, you know, the workforce, the business, all of that. You know what I mean? But I hit a wall. I'd seen like some folks around me who had been there, same kind of similar situation. Like, yo, I started working here 42 years ago, and it's too late to do anything else for me now. And I was like, you know, I'm still young enough. I would like to try something. If I come back with my tail between my legs, you get to say I told you so. But I've got to at least try, you know. And
that reminds me of a story of a local guy that's here. He was actually a mentor of mine when I got into sales, because I thought I wanted to be like this crazy Grant Cardone, Joe Verde type salesman.
Right.
And they own RV Connections. You know Jack Stewart? Neil Stewart, they own RV Connections. Jack Stewart.
I know RV Connections. There,
yeah. Jack Stewart. So I was a carpet cleaner, and I remember I went and I cleaned this guy's boat, hit the carpet in his boat, and I thought I was killing it, man. I was making like $800 a week, in between $600 and $800 a week. This was back in 2010. 2011.
Okay, yeah.
And I had cleaned his boat, and he was talking to me after. I've known him since I'm talking like really, you know. And so he had talked about how he worked for Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, and he was like he did all these deliveries back and forth. I mean, he ran a truck, and then of course they make sales, on whatever.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I learned from him was guys that come from those types of backgrounds, even like what you're talking about, doing inventory for like Pepsi, the work ethic has to be there.
Oh, 100%.
Or you
that
fail.
is a physical, I don't care. I don't care what department you're in. Vending is a physical job, period. Vending is not for the weak of heart. Yeah. That is your life.
But one of the things that I kind of took away from some of the lessons learned by talking to him and how he kind of molded me. First of all, he opened up the world in a completely different mindset where I was like, I thought I was going to be a carpet cleaner the rest of my life.
Right.
Because I was making such good money. I was newly married and like all this different things. And it was just kind of like he had put it in perspective where it's like, dude, no. Like this is he was the first person to tell me this is a stepping stone to get to where you want to be later on in life. And it was something that I still look back on. I remember certain things that he had said back then. But most of the people that I've gotten the best advice from are self-made people.
Absolutely.
That necessarily he's been very, very financially successful, but some of the people that I've talked to that come from those types of backgrounds haven't been necessarily, they're not making millions, but they've taken those work ethics and those principles that they took from somewhere like Pepsi, somewhere like Anheuser-Busch.
No, I absolutely agree.
And they're able to be like, no, it sucked and I hated every minute of it, but it put me in a position to where I knew what it was like to work and what I knew
helped
it was
me
like.
grow as a man. And absolutely, and that was one of those spots. That Buffalo Rock was that for me. I will always be eternally grateful for them. To all of them, I still keep up with some of those guys, like right there, like those mentor type dudes who got me through and showed me the way, so to speak. and help shape,
and you put
the
it
way
into
I
other
operate.
aspects of your life.
Everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. But it was this fella named Pete Blacksmith who owned Crooked Letter Brewing in Mississippi. They're not around anymore. R.I.P. Crooked Letter Brewing. They were a great brewery. But it was him. I had become friends with this dude. I met him on my bachelor party. We had stopped at the brewery. We were heading to Biloxi, stopped at the brewery. I was the beer guy in the group. And all I told everybody, I was like, I want beer I haven't had before, and I want some mom and pop pizza. I don't really care what else we do. And we found this brewery, got talking to this dude. Me and him became pals. And I had woken up one day and I was like in this rut of like just sick, tired of it all. And I saw a post this dude had made, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was a Napoleon Hill quote, and it said, "Don't wait. The time will never be just right."
No.
And that has stuck with me. And that right there was my, like, you know what? I'm into this beer stuff. I want to do I would like to, try to do something in this world. Like, this is where my heart is. It's where my passion is. And it's been, dude, good Lord, I don't even know how long it's been now at this point. Yeah. 16. It's been almost 10 years since I've been gone, like, I decided, like, it's time to do this, full time. This is not just a hobby anymore. And I ran and never looked back. And has it been the easiest? Absolutely not. Has it been a fun, exciting journey? 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm one of those dudes, like, I'm not a bounce around guy. Where I'm at, like, when I'm there, I'm there. Like, this is not oh man, this was cool. All right, later.
Yeah.
Like,
man, I did that so much in my 20s.
I appreciate being able to count on two hands and still have some fingers how many jobs I've had in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, I left Pepsi, I was over at Craft Beer Emporium as they were making their crossover. I was over there for like 6 years, and then same thing, kind of hit the wall. Hours and all that stuff was hitting me. Those guys were always great. I learned so much more than I knew previously. The experience and, like, all the beers that they got and constantly are getting in. I'm forever eternally grateful for those guys. I was like, initially it was like, I want to brew beer because I just started homebrewing. Went out to Naval. You remember them?
Yeah.
Remember Naval?
I was actually gonna bring that up earlier.
I was one of the assistant brewers at Naval, man.
A peanut butter stout. That was the first time I'd ever had a peanut butter stout.
Was it really the Naval one?
Yes.
I don't know, man.
They had a strawberry wafer stout that was there.
I remember the strawberry. I remember mine was the was it Fearless? It was like the one bomber they did. It was heavenly. The vanilla Viper Porter did it. Scuba was the reason I got into IPAs. That beer, the guy, long before Naval was a thing, one of the original founders of Naval, I met at a Friday Fest. This guy named Doug Witt. He lived in Georgia, was wanting to open a brewery down here. He was a homebrew guy. He was out sampling his beer at a Friday Fest. He was like, I want to open Bay County Brewing. Excuse me. He had all these beers that were like, here locally kind of themed, And I absolutely hated IPAs. And the original Scuba recipe, because what Naval ended up going with was Scuba, they tweaked it a little bit. And so, like, while Naval was a thing, they had what the world knew as Scuba, we all knew as Scuba 2.0.
Yeah.
But if it had not been for that original Scuba, I don't think, like, I would have never gotten into IPAs. That was my one time. That was the first time where I was like, okay, this is solid. If I can find more stuff like this, holy crap, take me, like, I'm good. And always, forever, to Selma, Leo, all the love to those guys, man. Still, I see those guys every once in a while now, man. They're damn good folk. Damn good folk.
Yeah.
And it's so much so.
I haven't talked to him in a while. I need to give him a call.
I
need to have
it's
him
been
on.
a minute. You need to have him on.
I would love to. You know, it's really funny because now
I'd love to call him out right now as a reason. Come on. You're not responsible for that.
So we are...
Mayor Tedemeyer, this message goes out to you from all the dear people on Panama City. I hang out on the beach. Come on this podcast. I am saying this of my own free will and volition. Nobody is making me say this. I don't like the way your face is right now looking at me while I'm doing this.
What if,
kind of went away.
and I just, when you were talking about collaboration earlier, man, dude, like someone like you, someone like Alan, going in on a place and having your own brewery. Dude, we have got to have a brewery here in Lynn Haven.
Brother, there's got to
one,
be,
bro.
and I'm going to go ahead and say this completely. There needs to be something in Lynn Haven. No ill will towards Blue Moon whatsoever. I want to say that first and foremost. No ill will towards Blue Moon.
There's nothing wrong with it being a bar, but I'm talking about something where there's creativity like a brewery.
There's got to be something.
Yeah.
For like what I was saying, I mentioned earlier. I was
have you been
I
to
miss
that?
Top Shelf liquor, where the Verizon store is now.
Yeah.
That had an amazing. I was living in Lynn Haven as I was getting into this journey.
Nah, man. Screw
they
that.
had a great selection
Florida
of
Avenue.
beer.
Florida
They had-
Avenue. So check this out. Vicky Gaynor just came on the other day.
Mm-hmm.
She talked about Florida Avenue. They got a huge grant. They're going to be rebuilding that up right down there. It's like basically downtown Lynn Haven. Something needs to be down there. But have you been to that arcade bar yet downtown Panama City?
Oh, brother, I'm there. Like, dude, I'm there on Fridays.
Ben McGee,
in between work.
I've known Ben for probably 5 years now. He works on some stuff, but
Great guy. No, yeah, love Ben.
love that dude.
Great dude.
That place. So I went in there for the first time over the weekend.
Willie,
I've never
I've been
been there.
telling you about that place for a
Dude,
minute.
no. So my buddy, my brother, I consider him my brother. He moved back here from Colorado, and we went down there. And we were there for
It's great.
hours.
And I'm going to tell you, so I made
awesome. We need one of those in
that. I'm going to tell you right now. This shows how much you pay attention to the stuff I post on Facebook's jackass. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, but I'm going to use this to say, like, it was like not this past Friday a week ago. I just made a post. So like on Fridays in between Law Firm and Salty Oak, we, like, a bunch of us will get together, we'll go have lunch, grab a couple beers, and just kind of hang out, chill, whatever. And like we have our little spots that we kind of rotate through every week. And the arcade is one of them. And I did a post because a lot of people still don't know. They think that you walk into the arcade, you got to buy which it's a great deal. $15 all day.
$15.
$15 all day.
Games.
Come and go as you please. I'm playing for a while. I got other stuff to go do, but I'm free later.
I'm reaching out to him. I'm gonna have
hit him
on.
up.
Yeah, I need to have him on.
It's a great deal. But if you don't feel like playing games, you just got to tell the person at the front, hey, I want to go to the bar. They have a great selection of packaged beer.
We tried
their bar.
Dude, that we did the other night, they had a peanut butter stout with an apple cider.
Oh, you talking about that Halloween one?
No. We did it. The guy at the bar told us about it. And he was like, "Oh yeah, mix them together. It tastes like a caramel apple." Oh, dude, that was insane.
I don't think what the hell the peanut butter stout was.
I don't remember.
So I know I drank that.
Maybe it wasn't it's a peanut butter something, and then we added.
They have a great selection of packaged stuff from all over, and it won't break the bank.
Yeah,
they're
not charging. I don't have to bring up, but there are a couple places that I just love in this town.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what part of town, but there are a couple places. Hold on.
I'm following.
There are a couple places that I love going, and it's a great atmosphere, great
100%.
great drink. But then I go and it's like I leave at the end of the night. And I'm like, God dang it! I just spent $120. And it's like I only had like 4 drinks.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
like. To justify it,
and the arcade, the bar at Point Break, which Joey Joey Hodges is curating all those beers that they're bringing in, and that dude, me and him have learned so much from each other.
I've met Joey
years.
a couple times. He's
That's
a pretty good guy.
dude, Joey. That's
Apparently
my
I went to
guy.
school with him, and I don't remember.
There was a moment long ago. It doesn't work out anymore. Doesn't work out anymore because he's now gotten serious. He's got a nice young lady, and he's doing his thing. But there was a longest time when Joey was single. I was like, Joey, if I die, you are to step in and take care of my family. You are the fella. It's your job now. I'm leaving them to you in my will. Congratulations. You know what I mean? But no, great dude. He knows so much about beer, bro, and he is so damn good at what he does all the way through. He's an amazing brewer, amazing friend, amazing beer drinker, everything, you know. And he's curating all the brews. And dude, you can go in there and you can go have 4 beers that you can go get somewhere else and will run you $86 for those 4 beers. Yeah. And you can go into that arcade and drink those same 4 beers and be like, all right, $36. I am not mad at that. Yeah. I am not mad at that.
Dude, we played games.
That place. Did you go upstairs? Did you go upstairs to where like all the Japanese stuff is?
Yep.
Did you play the coaster game?
Yeah, I tried to play
Groove Coaster.
Have you tried to play the DJ game?
I did, but I don't know enough about DJing to even begin to understand anything about that game.
It's way too hard.
It's so hard.
But you know, Ben McGee, the part owner of that place, huge pinball guy.
Oh yeah. Oh dude.
He's like a
brother. I signed up.
Really good.
I signed up for the pinball thing. So like when I go in
competition?
There. Yeah. No. Like so. Like some of the pinball machines have like these little things where you like scan a QR code and it'll like log you in and like log your score and it'll put you on the board if you make like a high enough score or whatever on the TVs near the pinball area. Like I got that. I set that shit up, bro. So like I'll go to these machines that got this little like square. Like little thing in it. Yeah. I'll just pull up my shit and just put my little QR code over and it's like, boom. Okay. Hi, Atamu. Yeah. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, dude, it's a thing. Pinball.
Oh, bro, pinball.
But down.
Parties.
Did you grow up here?
Yes, dude. Born and raised. I have 2 850 tattoos.
So?
Yeah. Why would
people
you
that have Japanese tattoos, they never been to Japan.
Ew, that's gross. So that's oddly specific though. Hey man. Tell you what, I went to Dothan once. I got a 334 tattoo. It was a really good weekend. No, that's weird.
No,
yeah, born and raised, bro.
You went to Bay?
So I got kicked out of Bay. I got kicked out of Bay freshman year.
Drugs?
No, it was I was on drugs. Like
Charlie,
we were smoking.
Charlie Sheen from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Drugs.
I didn't show up a lot. I skipped a lot of class.
Drugs.
We smoked a lot of pot, and it was Christmas break. What was crazy was I had lived in Dothan for a little bit.
So I was right.
Like 3-4 years.
I brought up Dothan. You lived in Dothan.
Kind of, sort. Yeah, briefly. It was like 3-4 years when I was a young teen. And
dude, what was it like? Fucking
middle school in Dothan. I will tell you exactly. Honestly,
we'd go out and catch cow patties.
No, it's crazy. I was the first dude in that middle school to ever show up with purple hair, and there were.
So you were wild, man.
Oh yeah,
dude. So check this out. My mom. So you want to hear something crazy?
Let's go.
My mom was 7 years old when her family moved from Miami to Graceville.
Whoa. That's a...
They moved. My grandfather...
That's a...
Southern Baptist preacher.
Frickin' change.
My grandfather was a Southern Baptist preacher. Okay. He did it for 44 years.
Holy shit.
He actually taught at the Southern Baptist College of Florida.
Right.
And so, but he was the director of missions for all of the Southern Baptist Convention in the area. Yeah.
That's a big job. Good for him.
What's crazy is so he managed all these Baptist churches that were in there in that area.
Right.
And he was like, he just came home one day and he was like, hey, we're moving to Graceville, freaking Florida. And like, everybody's like, where's that? And so both my mom's brothers, so my mom, one of my mom's brothers became a Navy SEAL, and so he was gone. And then my other,
I got some family in Graceville,
my other
family,
uncle,
and I still don't know.
My other uncle became like huge in corporate America, and so they kind of like my mom was 16 years apart from her oldest brother, so she was by herself, and she was like living. So her family moved from Miami to Graceville,
That
Florida.
is a swap.
You want to talk about like, and so my mom was like, oh, being 7 years old, you don't really pick up on so much, but it definitely was different. It was like, Mom, you want to go to the mall? Vanity Fair outlet.
Right? Yeah. Well, no, see, and it was kind of one of those things, man, because when I got up there, I was like 12, 13, just coming up. And honestly, truthfully, like, that was like the area where I kind of like came into my own, and like, everything, my personality and all of this kind of like grew from like my time there,
really?
Yeah. Like I was kind of like, I was quiet, bro, beforehand, like all the way leading up. We left, it was like going into 7th grade. My dad got transferred to go open he was like doing AC, like he was like one of those AC shops, like E&E kind of sort of total supply stuff. And he got transferred up there to go open up one of the joints up there. And I was like kind of quiet and just chill, just a little nerdy kid. I had my friends here, whatever. And then I got up there and it was like, oh, hey man, that kid's from Panama. Oh, that kid's from Panama. And like, which never really thought about. Like,
it's like the wild world.
Yeah,
bro.
It's like a thing.
Wild
like
West,
what?
Bro.
Yeah, like okay, like I don't okay. And it was like, ooh, cool, mysterious. Tell us about you.
The bad
And
boy
so that kind of became like I was like, I kind of fell into my own and like kind of quit being quiet as quiet. And like literally like my whole personality just kind of like popped and flourished, like thanks to that place. Yeah. And then, so we were still, what was crazy is like, so he got like a couple years in, got done, everything's rolling. That place is running good, and he's like, we're ready to come home. And so he got it going, got all the people in place, and like we were coming, like he had transferred back. Like he went ahead and transferred back, and we were getting ready to move back down. And school year had started. It was my freshman year. School year had started, day one of school. Day one, freshman year, Bay High. I live in Dothan, Alabama. I attend Bay High School.
Oh.
Yeah.
Making the drive every day? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was, we were commuting, man. When my dad would get up and go to work in the morning, when my dad was leaving for work in the morning, I would leave with him, and he would drop me off at school to go to work. This was like, when I graduated, 6. Like, 2002,
oh, the traffic lights weren't fucked up then.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it was like early aughts.
Yeah.
And, bro.
You can make that drive in an hour.
We were totally, I was getting up in the morning, coming down with him. And then after school, I was using one of my buddy's addresses. I would just ride the bus over to his house, and we just kind of chilled. My dad would get off of work, he'd pick me up, and we would drive back home to Dothan. And we were doing that for like a couple months before we finally moved all the way back down. But it kind of got in, and I knew it was a downhill because it was first day, freshman year, the intro assembly was happening, and ran into a bunch of my old friends, but yeah, man, like it was Christmas break, freshman year. I got a letter saying, hey, you've missed a bit of school. You can't have your driver's license until you're 18, and you know what? We'd prefer if you didn't return. So thank you, bye. They kicked me out. Bay High kicked me out. Christmas break, freshman year. Couldn't get my license until I was 18. So Christmas break was over. I immediately went and enrolled in Shaw because I knew if I...
God, that's a name I haven't heard in forever.
Right? They're not even around anymore. A place is like a firefighter training camp or something like that.
And that was always like the place in the back of your head that you didn't want to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
And so went over there, like day one back from breaks. I knew if I screwed around and I took a minute and I'll go do it later, I would never do it. I knew I'd never do it. So I went over to Shaw. You know how everybody has that like Dangerous Minds moment? They got that one teacher that's like, that's the one that made a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Shaw Adult Center. I had that teacher, Richie Gaither, from this day until the day I died. That man, that is a dude. That is the greatest educator in Bay County.
Really?
Hands down, that dude. I will scream that dude's name from the rooftops. If it was not for him, I probably would have ended up being a high school dropout. I owe most of my. I owe a lot to that dude. I owe a lot to that dude from as a teen. I still keep up with him to this day. Pretty sure. I think he plays guitar for the Grateful Dads. So if you ever see them anywhere, if you ever see that they're out playing somewhere,
it's pretty amazing.
Go look for that guy and tell him, hey man.
Yeah.
Adam Carroll said you changed his life, and he's going to high five you and know what you're talking about.
It is pretty crazy to see how there are teachers that do make a difference.
Oh, 100%.
Because there are some teachers that don't.
So many. I could not tell you a single other teacher's name from that school while I was there.
Yeah.
That dude will stay with me forever.
Yeah.
That dude will always be in my heart. That is just one of the greatest. Period.
I had an English teacher in high school at Arnold that was like that, Mr. Holman. Mr. Holman. I don't even know if that guy's still alive. I don't know anything about him. I know he was.
Do some internet research, man. Reach
yeah,
out,
dude.
It'll mean a lot.
Crazy. There are teachers that I look back on.
If he is, it'll mean a lot to him. Especially this far down the line, it will mean something.
There are teachers that I look back on now, and I'm like, man, that person really knew what it was that they were talking about. And I didn't.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Time of day. And
absolutely. Once I quit being a young adult and became like an adult. And kind of started looking at the world with like a different, like kind of a different mindset, kind of like more open. You know, you don't need to have a pocket full of cash to go find something to do in this town. No. You don't need to be loaded. You don't need to. There's 1,000,001 things to do. You just gotta get off your ass and go find them.
Yeah.
There's 1,000,000 state parks around here that are gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous. When was the last time you've been to Fallen Waters?
Oh God!
Right?
It's been a minute.
See, yeah, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much stuff to do. Yeah, it's a touristy town, and at the end of the day, that's kind of sometimes
I spend a lot of time in the conservation park.
Yes,
but the thing about it
and
is,
it's nice. It's relaxing, and you're taking in the world, bro.
The history of things. I was just saying this to somebody the other day. Like, we have. We do have a lot of history that's here in this town that is not capitalized on at all.
Yes, 100%.
Especially if you go into like the pirates.
Oh, absolutely.
Thing, like with the
Look,
I mean, there's a lot here.
I know we are not one of those ghost town places, but I feel like controversial hot take. And I know that it's not quite the same now that all the trees are gone, post Michael and all that jazz. But the Martin House should be a thing that. So the Martin,
bro,
you don't implicate yourself in anything. Just leave it at that. We're making eye contact. I know what you're talking about. They know what you're talking about. And if they don't know what you're talking about, they don't need to know what you're talking about.
Dude, if you grew up here at the Martin House.
Dude,
so my mom, the first time that I ever been out to Martin House, dude, we're talking about some cool shit. This is cool
brother. Stuff. I'm not one of those guys. I don't want to say I'm one of those
Panama City Christian school.
You went with PC Christian?
My mom was a teacher at PCCS. Yeah,
right.
Panama City Christian School. And so I went there from Kindergarten to second grade.
Okay.
Then I went into public school, and then I came back over in the fourth grade.
It was that public school era. You were like, none of this.
Well, my mom was a teacher there, so she got a discount
that made
on
sense.
me going
Yeah.
there. But I remember,
It wasn't a personal thing where you're like, ugh, these folks.
Yeah, back
No.
before PCCS started going downhill, they did a banquet that was at the Martin House. No shit. Yeah, it was a crazy thing.
My whole life.
And
my whole
then
life.
so
I would love to go there. I want to go inside.
when I got,
I want to go upstairs, son.
Have you never done?
I've never been inside.
Bro, so check this out. I'll tell you a story.
We were kids, and I wasn't crossing that fence because I was afraid of jail.
So the caretaker from that house.
That statement in itself. The caretaker for the Martin House.
When I
That
graduated,
is scary as shit. That is a creepy statement.
Yeah, when I graduated from high school, again it was like one of those. I wasn't going to college. I really wouldn't. So I started cleaning carpet for my dad's company.
Right.
And yeah, I got to clean the carpet in there.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, dude. Legit, like there's some serious issues going on there. I'm not one of those
because I know. No, I agree. I am not one of those
I'm not
guys.
one of those like.
I'm not one of those
But
guys.
dude, it's one of those, and like
there are
I never got the
certain
full
places
story.
in certain moments.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing.
I think energy gets stored in
100%.
something. But
There's no real story. It's all urban legend. It's all urban legend.
There's some documented stuff there.
Yeah, but ...
Dude,
It gets muddied.
dude, there was.
Do you want the story? Do you want this? Do you want? I have it. It's still fresh in my head because I was reading on it the other day.
Story. I know the story.
Yo.
If you want to tell it, go.
The whole Old Man Martin.
Just okay. So for the listeners that don't really know much about the Martin House,
The Martin House. I was doing some reading on this literally 2 weeks ago. A dear friend of mine, Trina Ward, a local author, she's written 3 books. Her first book was The Martin House. So it was crazy. So it's a
Trina Ward.
Trina Ward. Look into these. You like local stuff like that too. This would be something you'd be into. So they're like, she writes these they're these fiction novels, but she uses.
This is why I can't wait till my new studio because I'm gonna have somebody look this up.
She uses local stuff. So book 1 was Martin House. So she takes kind of the history of the Martin House and wrote a novel around it.
Yeah.
So it's not read this book based on a true story. It's here's some local spooky stuff. Wrote a book around it.
Yeah.
Second book was Sandy Creek. Third book was Dozier School for Boys.
Dude,
We're gonna pause. We're not even touching that one right now. That's an excerpt.
The reason why the Dozier School for Boys is kind of like a soft spot for me is because my grandfather was really, really good friends for one of the boys who was adopted.
Really?
Yeah, by Mr. Dozier.
Yo.
And so the Dozier School of Boys, I don't really know what to believe. I don't know enough about it.
Again,
but I did
some of that stuff that falls.
Man,
so
dude, I don't know about
there's stuff that there's stuff that it gets muddled to the point to where it's just. It becomes it's just okay,
whether or not this
legend,
is urban
what's
legend
what.
or what.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand.
So Martin House, though, I was reading up on this again recently, a couple weeks ago. And feel free to fact check me. Don't correct me. Do your own research on the shit. This is just where I was at recently. So the way the story goes with Martin House was Old Man Martin, predominant member of early Bay County society, if you will, found out that his wife was having an affair, relations in the biblical sense, with one of their field hands, so to speak. Back then, things were different. It was a different society. She was having an affair with one of their indentured servants, so to speak, and everyone in the community kind of knew about it. And he lost his mind. And so after he strung up the fella, the worker, so to speak, the Some might call it slave labor.
This is crazy. I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you.
Nope, go right ahead.
So, yeah, we have top 5 most haunted places in.
What do we got? What are they?
So Martin, actually, the Martin Theater is the first thing that comes up. I don't understand.
That's weird that Martin Theater is the first. Why?
Martin Theater is sitting at the heart of historic downtown Panama City, originally known as the Ritz. The Martin Theater is described as the most beautiful any theater in the state. The Martin Theater quickly became one of the most famous theaters after its opening.
I don't care about this. Get to the good part.
Yeah, I know. That's what
you know what I'm saying? Like,
why is it haunted? A paranormal group confirmed that these. Well, what's
I don't buy that. I'm sorry.
People claim to have heard footsteps in the empty halls and would get glimpses of shadow figures of the corner of the eyes. One photographer even captured a photo in the mirror of a figure standing right behind him.
Man,
yeah, it was their mom.
I'm not here to say no, but
the stories go on with these sightings. The Martin Theater Paranormal Group. You know what I thought was haunted as hell? Back when
I will tell you right now.
The county jail.
No. Wait, yeah. The old jail. The Visual Arts Center, what is it now? The Center for the Arts? Absolutely. When me and my wife were first dating, we were super into those paint your art out classes. We frequented them so much that it got to a point to where we started volunteering for the paint classes we didn't want to do so we could get free passes because we were spending so much money going to those classes.
So it says
and I heard stories.
So there was apparently...
But
the stories building
there.
Comes to the jail house as the lynching of Miles Brown took place.
Oh shit!
Therefore, the murder of this former employer.
Didn't know that.
Although the jury convinced the authorities to set him free, a mob of masked men took Brown's life and threw his body on the side of the road. Since then, people have claimed to have heard footsteps.
Heard them
pacing back and forth inside the building. What used to be the prison cells.
Heard them.
Really?
There's a lot
of the county jail. So we had a lynch in here. That's crazy.
I mean, think old Panama City.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying,
but yeah, I don't know. I know what you mean.
But like Mariana, Florida doesn't surprise me.
So like that building, like you can go there. I could take you to specific corridors in that building right now. We could go tomorrow during the daylight hours while it's open and operational as an art gallery. And I can take you to some like some back hallways in and out of that.
Art museum that's down there.
The Visual Arts Center. Yeah. Scroll up. Like, you see where that's at? Scroll up to that picture. No, go the other way. Dude, that's the Visual Art. Look, Center for the Arts.
That was the jail?
That was the old jail.
No shit.
That was the old jail. I can take you to some hallways that are like, have not been touched, that have not been remodeled, refurbished, anything.
Really?
In that building.
I've never been in there.
Ever? Really?
I've never been in
Brother,
there.
you really need to check it out. They have some great art displays and stuff.
I've never been in there.
But I found all these corridors when we were doing all this volunteer work there because like we kind of had free reign around the building and whatnot. And dude, I'm serious.
Have you ever been to Savannah?
Dude, my daughter's in college. Look at my hat.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, tighten up.
No. So I stayed in the Marshall House there.
Okay, yo.
And it was used as a Union soldier hospital.
Things I'm not staying in.
Yeah, so like when you start talking about this kind of stuff, I'm like,
it takes you to that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I didn't know we had anything.
Dude,
like that.
I could take you like those hallways in the daytime will make you feel uneasy.
Look at that.
Let alone imagine being there.
Look at that Martin House
at night.
I got the Martin House.
Martin House right there. Yeah, going back. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if they actually give.
They ain't gonna talk about it.
Quickly spread. Martin
Murdered
Martin. His family before turning the gun on himself.
Look.
This isn't true. However, Martin's mother, Sarah Dickerson Martin, purchased a home across.
That's
experienced paranormal activity that occurred for many years in her house. Confirmed the stories of lights flickering. And Sarah's empty home led the family to
that's the urban legend. The gun is the urban legend. This stuff I've seen, all the things I've seen, and again, maybe they're wrong, was
Dude, they got Millie's down
There
here.
was a hanging.
They got Millie's.
Why is Millie's? Dude, I love
Millie's is a popular cafe in downtown Panama City.
It's an amazingly popular cafe. They have some of the greatest food in Bay County.
Millie's, the owner's mother typically wore her favorite colors, pale blue and white, which gave her away of the time. The owner customers experience many sights of Millie's hauntings. For instance, Millie's... I'm not gonna lie, I've never gone this far.
I have eaten, dude. The 6 years I was working at Craft Beer Emporium, I ate at Millie's every day. I ate at Millie's 6 days a week for 6 fucking years. I'm very intrigued by this story, and I want to know more. I've never experienced anything crazy. Like, that's weird. That's news.
The first floor was an arcade, while offices from the second floor include dentist, a lawyer, investments, and shipping lines, contractors, insurance, and Girl Scouts. Millie, the owner's mother, typically wore her favorite colors. Yeah, we read that already. For instance, Millie's spirit has been spotted inside the cafe several times from outside, and owner Dave witnessed several of the cafe's spoons fly off the rack.
I have questions. I'm calling, dude. I know Dave.
Even though Millie was harmless, she still sent chills down people's backs whenever it made her.
See, I don't know. I know Dave. I have Dave's number on my phone.
I did not know.
I did not know that. I have Dave's number on my phone. I spent every day with him, dude, for so many years. I'm calling him tomorrow and finding out
After
about
reading about the most haunted place in Panama City, you probably want to know yourself. Yeah, so I didn't know Millie's.
I didn't know Millie's. Have you ever eaten? You said you never eaten at Millie's?
Oh, no. I've eaten at Millie's before.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
No, yeah. I was saying that I never had been in the art museum.
Oh, yeah. The art museum. Dude, yeah, you got to go check that place. Do you like, if you're like into like dope old buildings? Hell yeah. Absolutely.
That's insane. I didn't know any of that. I knew about the Martin house, about how the dude killed his family, put him in the walls. All kinds of stuff. But
I want to go like that. Something... And it kills me sometimes that we are the way we are, because I look at some of these towns, like, we say Savannah, New Orleans. You have these like St. Augustine. You have these old cities, these old towns that like embrace this like haunted old school, like, spooky atmosphere.
But like fishing towns,
I would love to be one of those places.
Fishing towns have always been like, it's a rough area. You have fishermen that come off the boats. You never know what you're going to get.
It's going to be a journey
type stuff.
100%.
And so, like, to have something like that, though, that's pretty insane. I didn't know that.
It's wild, man.
Dude, this was a great Halloween episode.
But
what I'm saying, I didn't know. It's kind of like talking about Fountain Blue. Elvis stayed there and stuff like that. I mean, we've got some old places here, but when you start talking about stuff like that, I mean,
oh yeah, like.
What?
Like literally your backyard.
Was what years? That was the 1800s, right? Was it 1900s?
I think it was the 8. No, Panama City was incorporated in 1906.
The paper mill owned that property.
They have it now. So the official story for like the last like fucking 20 some odd years is the paper mill has had it this whole time as we've been adults and young teens.
What's the name of the bayou there?
Is it Watson Bayou? No, it's not Watson Bayou.
I know that people have told stories about like going and swimming
There's
in that lake.
There's so much, eyeballs. Man, and that's what's crazy, and that's what's dope. Is like if you go to like, there's like a museum.
It's so polluted.
There's a museum downtown, like up the street, like when you get closer to like down to that second end, not where like Relief and Hugh and not like
Parker is weird.
Very much so.
It looks like a ghost town.
There's
some places that are there to the right side if you're headed towards Tyndall.
Oh yeah.
You went in there, you got Ghost Adventures or somebody like that.
I'm going to tell you right now, speaking of Tyndall, absolute, the greatest haunted house, haunted tour, Halloween thing ever been on was the one out at Tyndall. Those cats,
says, man, they
brother,
know how to do it.
Those cats throw down as far as legitimate, like
Harders. Do you remember Harders?
I did Harders. Dude, we did Harders absolutely
every year was like
stand in line for 45 minutes. Not since the hurricane.
Dude, I remember.
Not since the hurricane.
Because
we did Harders every year, bro. But the Center for the Arts, though, the Visual Arts Center, the old jail right there, Spooky Scary Skellington place. Yeah. they're getting ready this weekend, upcoming this weekend and every weekend up to Halloween. They're doing, because you remember the old PCMI haunted house, like the JC's one, all that jazz. So like that one's not really going on. So like the one is going on right there. They're doing it. My kids like was working on the setup.
Yeah. So I ended up working for a different company cleaning carpet, and he had all the contracts with all the Catholic churches. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like that's that big of a deal. So I used to clean the carpet.
No. There's a huge. That's so.
Yeah, I would clean the carpet in the parsonages of like where the priests stayed.
And this would be like at night alone, I'm assuming.
Sometimes it would be at night, but sometimes it would be during the day. But I do have one
during the day. It seems like it would be okay. I would not be doing something like that at night.
St. Dominic's, they're off at 15th Street.
Yep. Nope.
Right there, exactly. Going over into Callaway.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up Southern Baptist, so we didn't like light candles and talk to...
It was a different time. So
it wasn't necessarily a different time. It's just that it's a different practice.
No, yeah, 100%.
But these...
And see, so I will say, I will interrupt you briefly just to say, so you have a slightly more deeper understanding. Okay. Raised Baptist, baptized Pentecostal, young adult non-denominational.
Yeah.
However,
here, you can use that one.
I'm not Catholic. I looked into it once upon a time when I was a young adult.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's a lot of stuff to convert.
Yeah.
And I didn't put anything into it. However, I will say, the imagery, gorgeous. Catholic imagery, I think, is just the art and all the stuff, you know, the stuff behind it. Like, you know, like when you think about like traditionally, like the old, like when you see like the old, like, you know, like the religious like paintings and etchings and stuff, it's all Catholic.
Yeah.
When you get down to it. And like, I love the imagery that like Catholic churches like have and put out. Like it's some of the most like between the glass and just the paintings and like works. I think it's gorgeous. However, being alone at night in the Catholic church, cleaning a carpet, that seems like that would be the scariest thing in the world.
No, one of the scariest things in the world.
That would make me nervous.
I was working for this company. It was called Certified Carpet and Restoration. The owner was Andy Biondo. He now works for Jimmy Petronas, who's our state. Yeah. And so, he grew up Catholic. He was a devout Catholic, when, you know, I worked for him. Pretty sure he still is, but, dude, I'll never forget this. You're going to laugh your ass off at this story. Like, this is truly a
Come on. Throw it at me. I'm ready.
He scheduled the auditorium of St. Dominic's to be cleaned, and it was like in the middle of the day. It was.
Do you have to move the pews and stuff when you're doing something like that?
No, I didn't have to move the pews, but what was...
Did you do everything like just around it or whatever?
Yeah. I just did like...
But I'm asking legitimate questions. Like, I don't mean to be that guy, but like that's a real question.
And they have like a huge crucifix of like Jesus where he's like, I mean, there's blood on him.
Yeah, like, no, it's brutal. It's like, graphic.
It's very
That's
graphic.
One thing to say about the Catholics. It's very graphic.
And I understand why they do it. It was explained to me once upon a time where it was like it was supposed to make you feel convicted of your sins.
Yeah, 100%.
Where it's like, hey, this is something that a human being went through, you know, for the sins of you. But I remember, dude, I was in this place. Dude. I haven't laughed so hard about it. It's not funny. No, it's fucking funny, kid. I was in this place, man, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and if you've ever slung a carpet wand, you know, I mean, you know, like it actually takes some force to, you know, like you're cleaning the carpet. And so, like this auditorium, something about that size would normally take about 2.5 hours. Dude, I'm sitting there, and we had a thunderstorm come in.
While you're in there? Yeah. Fuck off. No, sir.
I looked
no,
up.
sir.
Well, the rain started.
We're coming back tomorrow.
The rain.
Are you kidding me?
The rain.
No.
The rain started.
Bitch,
I looked out the front door, and it was the rain was coming down so hard. It was coming down like sideways because it was so bad outside.
You understand that's how like a lot of horror, like there's horror movies that start that way.
And there was lightning that was coming down or whatever. And so you have what's called pre-spray, which is like your, the first thing that you put down. So normally it's like a detergent. And so I put it down on the carpet, and there's a prayer room that's over to the side, which is where what do you call it?
You're going into side rooms now.
Yeah, but it's where you go in to do like confession.
Okay, yeah.
Like those areas. And so, but they had a prayer room that was in the back right behind the the actual stage or whatever. And so there's like these separate rooms, and like I was sitting there like spraying, and then I was like cleaning, and I was trying to get out of there as fast
how old
as
were
I could.
How old are you during this moment?
I was 19.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna picture you on like I'm gonna put you in.
I was fat too. Like I was a fat chubby kid. Like I was a fat.
All right, I need the visual.
Like yes,
I'm gonna take your face as it sits right now, and like we'll just give you like little chubby cheeks and put you on like a little husky boy's body. There we go.
Yeah, so
I'm painting the picture, man.
I'm like fat. I couldn't run from here to there without running out of breath. So like I'm sitting there. It's like I had pre-sprayed this area, and so I'm sitting there and I'm trying to clean this prayer room as quick as I could. I didn't grow up Catholic, so this is weird for me.
Right? Yeah, you're like, I don't.
and so
I know about Jesus,
that,
but not like
around
this.
the sanctuary, they have all these like Saint Peter, Saint John, Saint whatever, and then they have like these candles that are lit. Yeah, because people come in and light a candle and they'll pray. And like there were some women in there that were like while I was starting to spray, and they were in there like praying, and they did the whole like whatever the heck. Yeah. And so I'm like sitting there like, whatever. It didn't bother me. I didn't care. Until I was the only person in the sanctuary, and then I was cleaning this prayer room.
You turn around, you're saying like, I'm the only one here.
I'm coming out, and so like all the lights were on in the sanctuary, and I start cleaning, and I have music going in my ears because that was back when you didn't have AirPods.
Oh yeah, you had the over the ears, baby.
I used to have this, right? I used to have this, and the carpet wand would catch onto this and pull it out of my ear. Oh, dude, it happened so much. And so, like, I would always have it, like, coming out of my ear.
That's the general time. You should have had, like, the little over the ear, it goes over, but the wireless over the ears,
you know what I'm talking about? With the back then.
Yeah, no, it had the wire, but you know what I'm talking about? Like, it was like the earbud, but it had, like, the little clip that went behind your ear. Yeah. And it had the little wrap around the neck thing.
Yeah, I was poor. But anyway, so I'm sitting here and I'm, like, cleaning this carpet, and all of a sudden, the fucking lights go out, bro.
Like all of them?
All of the lights went out. Now, you could still see because of all the stained glass.
The stained glass, the candles.
But what's coming through that stained glass?
Colored fucking
some
light.
Shit.
Scary ass
like some
light.
Scary freaking
because even the stained glass. The stained glass is like somebody bleeding to death in somebody's arms.
Yeah. And I was sitting there.
No disrespect.
I was
nothing but love.
No, dude, that's
the imagery.
What it is.
Yeah, but it's graphic. It's brutal. It's in your face.
I'm swinging this carpet wand, and all of a sudden, all of the lights go out in the sanctuary, and then you have lightning that's striking, and I see like Jesus laying in Mary's arms, just like.
Nope.
Bye. And I just start
I'm out.
Oh shit! I've seen so many horror movies.
I'm out. Yeah, and that's how they all start.
Dude, I'm like sitting there and I'm like...
they say, hey, this is supposed to be hallowed ground, but if you've ever seen any horror movie that revolves around Catholicism, that's when the demons come in to take you.
Yeah, so I...
fuck no!
Like, I had 2 more jobs the rest of the day, which were like 2 other...
So you left that and whipped some?
No, what I mean by that is like I had 2 other apartments that I had to clean, like vacant apartments. And so I was like, I got so scared. Yeah. I dropped the carpet on. I went out and I got in the truck. I'm soaking wet because the rain is just pounding, right? And I get into my truck and I called the owner, which was Andy, and I said, "Hey, The power went off. I can't see what I'm doing. I can't see what I've cleaned from what I already cleaned. I said, I'm gonna need to come back tomorrow.
Bro. Oh, you know what? You did good.
He goes, and I was like, the power went off. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I can't see anything. Like, I'm gonna go clean these other apartments, and tomorrow morning I'll come back first thing and I'll finish it up. And he goes, what?
Like, what the fuck are you talking about, kid? What are you talking about? I don't, what?
He grew up Catholic.
Yeah,
So,
it's
like,
nothing.
For him,
it's nothing.
And for me, it was a terrifying moment.
Absolutely.
In my life.
Well, I mean, especially, yeah, that too. Because, like, okay, not to jump down that path, but, like, depending on what denomination we'll say you were fucking raised, when you're
and I still have all these. I'm sorry, but I'm like, all these candles were freaking going off throughout the entire sanctuary. Like, they left them.
That's your light. That's what they do. Well, they're just there.
You could see.
They don't put them out, I don't think.
You could see throughout the sanctuary, but my whole thing was like, bro,
it's darkish, these candles, and there's lightning.
Jesus is about to slice me up. Like, and I think
I know I've done some weird things as a teen.
And actually, to be honest with you, he was one of the greatest bosses that I ever had.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
He didn't let me out of that. But
no, your ass is finishing this, son.
He's like
the hell you say.
I think this was like, I can't remember what day it was, but he's like, they got mass in the morning and we have to have it done. I went in there, dude.
There's always mass.
I had Demon Slayer going on in my earphones where I was like, you know, that's like a Christian band or whatever. Yeah. It's like whatever. I'm like,
if I listen to Christian death metal, it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
They're gonna accept. It's gonna be fine, man.
Yeah, and well, that was the same time period that movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh yeah,
like that was going on at the time.
Right. Look,
yeah, dude, seriously, I had some issues.
How do you fare with those sorts of movies?
Oh, dude. Well, first of all, oh god. Dude, man,
we just opened up a can of worms.
You're gonna make me break out a bunch of different stories. So
it's all right.
When I was in,
we're going for a record for this cast.
When I was in the Army at Fort Campbell, of course, this was 10 years after that had just happened,
right,
or close to it. And I remember going up there, and we used to have the basement where we could go and work out. So we had like racks in there. You had row machines. You had stuff like that. They had a mat down there where you could practice combatives.
I'm glad you clarified, because just going off of we had the basement.
But
a lot of
what was crazy was
like
that basement. That basement, there was a padlock that locked everybody out, and the only way you could get a key is if you were part of HHC, which was headquarters. And so the only people that got keys for that were recon soldiers or mortar platoon or something like that.
Right.
And so,
right.
But what was funny about it is that when I was down there one morning, I would go down there by myself. No, I literally would. No. There's nothing creepy about it.
No, I'm just thinking about the general of everything we've been talking about.
There was a morning that I went down there and I felt like super creeped out. Like I felt like somebody was watching me.
Right.
And then I had found like candles down there where people had been playing with a Ouija board.
Oh, get fucked. No.
Yeah, dude. It was
That's
crazy.
some shit we don't fuck with, man. Look, I'm all into all kinds. Look, I am into all kinds of horror shit, weird shit, some. Like I am. What,
Mattel came out with a freaking game and now you're scared?
No, see, essentially, yeah, that's one thing I won't fuck with. Like I am fascinated by like the imagery, the art behind these things, good and bad. I love it. Like the old school, like you see those like documentaries on like History Channel about like, oh, the thing. And they got some like random picture from some book from like fucking 1193 from like Dante's Inferno or some ridiculous noise like that, or some, like the religious, like just the art. I am so fascinated in like, and not even just the religious art, but it's like, you see like the stuff from like these like weird lost tomes from like, she's a witch, burn her.
Oh, dude.
I'm so fascinated by like that art, and like stuff, shit that falls along, those lines of like, kind of creepy, macabre, sort of, so to speak. But like, Ouija's a line. Ouija's a line. Ouija is a hard line for me, bro. I don't give a fuck if it's a game. Like, it might have became a game, but like, there's, as we were saying earlier, I might not be the, I've seen some stuff, heard some stuff, but I'm not the, be careful. There's certain stuff that you just shouldn't play with. Yeah, there's certain shit you don't play with, period.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Period.
It's so funny because you talk to some people and they're like, "Oh, I don't believe in a boogeyman." Oh, like they're out there.
They're out there.
They're out there. There's evil that's in the world.
The boogeyman exists and he walks amongst you.
Yeah.
Understand. Point blank. Period.
Yeah. So there are certain things, but I remember being down there in this basement one evening,
and they left like a Ouija.
Yeah. So my wife had she had just given birth to my daughter, and so I had maternity leave.
I want to take a brief time out to say, as you're going on this tale, the darling angels that are your children. I'm going to cut you off. We're going to come right back to where you were. Hold that thought. Those darling babies, when she answered the door for me today, and your wife was like, yo, why did you open? Whoa, what did we talk about? You don't know who's at the door. Who did you open? Who'd you open the door for?
Yeah, they're good about that.
And she was just kind of like, meh. And then it wasn't until I walked in that it clicked who was here. Mm-hmm. And then both of them, the fact, like, it was so...
Mr. Adam!
Dude, it was so
Where's my fried
precious. It was so precious the way they lost their minds when they realized, like, it was me here. Yeah. And I was like, yo! Yeah. My guys! And, like, dude, it was the most...
They're really good
about... The greatest thing that's happened to me in the last 2 weeks.
Like, especially running for office and having people that would come up and approach me in public and they wouldn't want to talk to me. And they were really shy around them. So if they're really open to you, they know that you're...
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. And like that was the thing. It was like, so right before they all left, your daughter comes up to me and I said something. She was like, "Oh yeah, we're going to blah blah blah's house." And I was like, "Oh cool. Well, hey girl, tell him I said what's up or whatever." And it's like, we were playing. We were doing. Me and the kids were doing our thing. We were having a good time, man. And
Scarlett takes after me. Ragnar takes after his mom. So like Scarlett is very. If I don't know you, I hate you.
Right. Yeah.
Ragnar is very everybody's my friend.
That's what's
I so it's that. Like, and getting him into like this, trying to raise a boy.
Oh no! Yeah.
Where it's like, hey,
4 girls, 1 boy. Who you telling?
You protect your mom. You protect your sister.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that.
So they were going to leave, and this wasn't even my favorite part, but this is just the cutest thing. This wasn't even my favorite interaction with them today, but the cutest thing for me was like they were going to leave and they're like, yeah, we're going to blah blah blah's house, do whatever. And I was like, all right, well, yo, hey, tell him I said what's up though. Tell him I said what's up. And then she looks at me deadpan and she throws her fist out for a bump and she says, "You know I got your back." And boy, let me tell you, when I bumped fists with that sweet baby, my heart melted. Everything fell apart. And like, that was it. My day was done right there. My day was done. And then he came in behind and it was so cute. It was so adorable because he had that like, yo, wait a minute. Whoa, I'm a part of this too. I'm involved. He's like, hey, I got your back as well. You know, I got your back too. I'm like, no, buddy. Hey, bro. No, I 100% know you totally do. It's just the way your sister just came so
Dude,
intense
smooth.
and like, hey,
Smooth.
I don't know if you knew this or
Smooth.
not, fella. It caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready, but let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Those children, God, I love those
Agreed.
children. I love those children. They make me miss when my children were that age. My kids are all old and teenagers and adults and not cute anymore.
I'm not.
Dad, money and stuff. I miss that. I miss the cute little kid.
And every person that comes by and they tell me that, where it's like, oh, enjoy this part now because later on you're gonna hate it.
So I hated that the entire time. I always hated that. It was always one of those like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, wow, neat, okay, brother.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
There's a reason people say it. There's a reason people say it's gone tomorrow.
No,
it is totally gone tomorrow. My youngest is 13, and the only time I can get a daddy anymore,
when they want something.
Yeah,
they want
damn
some
right.
money.
Daddy, can I have this Vera Bradley lunchbox? What?
I've got Mattel.
Oh, what?
Mattel? Yeah.
Well, you can have no.
Don't you like the Avengers?
You can have
There
a
you go.
brown
Plastic.
bag. You know what I'm not spending is $45 on a lunchbox.
Jesus.
No, ma'am.
It's funny to see, I know we're getting way off topic from what we were talking about, but it is funny to see how materialistic items.
I feel like
become a
most
thing
things
as-
we've done today have been like an off topic of an off topic of an off topic, and that's how we've progressed. But I feel like that's what's made